For a while now, I've been wanting to do a bug jar about some of the weird and interesting instruments I've collected over the years, and I thought today would be a good day to start that. So to do the first one of those, I wanted to talk about this guitar right here, which is a Les Paul 2550, okay? It's an anniversary model, but it's kind of an interesting anniversary model. This came out in 1978, and if you notice, there is silver hardware and gold hardware at different points on the guitar. So the tuners are silver, but the backs of the tuners are gold. The actual posts are gold. The nut is bronze, so it kind of has that gold color. So the ticket here is that this is a 2550, meaning 25th anniversary and 50th anniversary at the same time. And why is that? That's because this came out in 1978, and it was supposed to represent the 25th anniversary of the Les Paul guitar, which technically would have been 1977, but 1978 also was the 50th anniversary of Les Paul, the musician, who, you know, was the inspiration for the guitar to begin with, which that happened in 1978, so they combined the gold anniversary and silver anniversary to create this guitar. This color that you see right here is the most common color they made of these guitars. I think they really only sold around 4,000 of these total, and they had four colors. They had this tobacco sunburst, they had a wine red, which is pretty uncommon, they had a black, which is uncommon, and they had a blonde natural color, which was the second most common after this one. This is my particular favorite color, and it's the most common to find. To me, when I first found out about these guitars, I just thought they were really one of the most beautiful Les Pauls that I'd ever seen. I have a Silverburst Les Paul, 1979, that has been my go-to mainstay electric guitar for, you know, almost 20 years now. But I saw one of these and I wanted to get one. So the one I got a little bit cheaper than you might normally expect to get them for a couple different reasons. Because one, if you look here underneath the bridge, you can see that at some point, you see these lines right here and how the wood looks a little different? At some point, somebody has switched out this tailpiece, what a travesty, and put some other kind of tailpiece on the guitar. And then later, they came back and put this original tailpiece and bridge back on the guitar and pretty much put the original piece of wood back in, but it didn't really come out looking exactly right. That, and along with a couple other things, like the guitar's just got some scratches and different little dings and stuff on it, and you can see the pickups are really corroded. I was able to get it for a little bit cheaper than what you normally might get one of these. When I was a teenager, Brent made me around 20 when I bought this guitar. That upset me a lot. I was really upset. But now I think I've changed my perspective a little bit over the years, and things like this just kind of, I don't know, gives a little bit of a character to me. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of the features on this Les Paul, because this guitar was a step up in a lot of ways from a lot of the other production Les Pauls of the time. Okay, so one of the things, besides having the really cool looking hardware with the gold and silver combination, is I just strung this guitar about 10 minutes ago. These tuners are the best feeling tuners that I have ever felt on any guitar that I've ever played. Exactly if they were specifically made just for this model or what, but they are so smooth, and the string tunes just very precisely, and it's really nice. You can see the serial number there, and the 703, I believe is what it says, which means that this was made in July 3rd, the 3rd of July, 1978. That's how that serial number works. Okay, so a couple of the other interesting features. This little switch right here means that this has a coil tap. So these traditional humbucking pickups that most Les Pauls would have, double coil pickups, you can, when it's in this position, they're double coil, and when you switch it up here, they're single coil like a Strat or Telecaster, or some Telecasters would be, which there were very, very few Les Pauls at the time that had any feature like that, and even to this day, there's not too many that have a coil tap on them. Another neat feature is the tailpiece itself. So I really love the way that you string this guitar compared to a normal Les Paul. The strings notch down inside of these little holes here, and there's these little pieces in the tailpiece that latch onto it. It makes it real easy to just slip the ball end of the string down in there and lock it in. Then you have these little fine tuners here, so I can tune higher or lower with these little tuners. Now, why someone would want to do that when the tuner's up here on the headstock work so good, I don't know. But you do have that feature if you want it. A couple other things, visually, there was no other Les Pauls that had this split inlay on the fretboard like that. So that's pretty cool. They've got the 2550 logo up on the headstock, which is neat. I believe this truss rod cover has been replaced, so that's one of the parts that's not original, because I think the original one actually had 2550 written on the cover. And then finally, the pickups themselves were not the standard issue Les Paul pickups of the time. I mean, I guess they had to have some special wiring in there for the coil tap, but also they're hot. They're really hot pickups. They're pretty loud. They're more like aftermarket pickups would be. So like your Seymour Duncans and stuff like that are wired to be a little bit hotter. These were that way from the factory. So I'm getting ready to play this and show you a couple of the different sounds it can make. So right now I've got the pickup selector on the neck pickup, and I've got the coil tap on the humbucking setting. And one thing I noticed when I play chords on this, as you'll see, is that the timbre is kind of dark. It's kind of a muted sort of tone. I know why that is, but I'll get back to that in just a second. So that was the neck pickup. Let's hear the bridge pickup on the humbucking setting. So brighter, as you might expect. Okay. So the reason I think especially the neck pickup is pretty dark is because you do have this coil tap option to kind of brighten things up. So let's hear that neck pickup again on the humbucking. Okay, now we're going to switch it to single coils. Much brighter, right? And a good bit less volume too. Not in a detrimental way, but it's definitely quieter. So here's the chord on single coil. That's not a good chord. Here's the coil on single coil. Here's the coil on humbucking. The humbucking's definitely louder and also darker in tone. Oddly enough, I think I prefer the single coil for the neck pickup. But now I'm going to switch it to the bridge pickup and listen to the difference. Okay, so here's double coil. Single coil. Now we're getting to some like Strat bridge pickup sound there. It's a little bit too bright and kind of quacky for my taste. It's really weird to hear a Les Paul make that sound. But now, I did try this earlier. When I switched the wah pedal on, for example, I like that kind of single coil sound. So the cool thing about this is you can get a lot more sounds out of this than you would a normal Les Paul. And what I've just discovered in my few minutes of playing it, I tend to, on my Silverburst, I tend to use the neck pickup exclusively because I just like that darker tone. On this particular guitar, I like the single coil on the neck pickup a lot. think I like the humbucking on the bridge pickup. But anyway, so I think it's cool that this guitar has a lot of different tone options you can pick from, and you can get some sounds out of it that you would not normally be able to get out of a Les Paul without doing a lot of tweaking on pedals and stuff. One of the things I didn't talk about earlier that I think is really cool is these tiger stripes going down the back of the headstock and neck. I just think that's a really pretty feature, and it's one of my favorite visual aspects of this guitar. So my final thoughts about this guitar is that I don't think I would ever replace the Silverburst as my workhorse Les Paul, but I used to be so averse to the single coil settings on this guitar, and I've kind of grown to like them a little bit more. So I think now I would definitely want to try this on some recordings and play live with a little bit. It's a really cool guitar, and I'm glad I have it. And I don't know, I think it's just an interesting piece of Gibson's history that sort of stands alone as a sort of a weirdo amongst their Les Paul line. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video today.